research on physiology and how this could support risk decision taking, especially in the trading environment. Can you elaborate further on this?
Yeah, we're looking at the effect of physiology and risk preferences amongst the trading community. I used to run a trading desk on Wall Street before going back to Cambridge, and came to believe that the bodies of traders were actually affecting their trading decisions both in bubbles and in crashes. In fact, that the physiology was shifting their risk preferences systematically, so they're taking too much risk during a bull market and too little risk during a bear market. So we've set up a series of experiments on a trading floor in the City of London where we were sampling a range of biomarkers, including the autonomic nervous system, but most of what we've done so far has been on hormones. And what we found is that when traders make money, an above average amount of money, testosterone builds up in their bodies to such an extent that it starts shifting their risk preferences. So we think that during a bull market, the testosterone levels build up, shift risk preferences to such an extent that they start taking too much risk with terrible risk-reward trade-offs. During a bear market, we think stress hormones like cortisol build up in the bodies of traders, and cortisol in the brain can instill feelings of anxiety, fear, cause you to develop a selective attention to negative precedents, and that in turn will lead to risk aversion, so that during a bear market, the stress hormones build up to such an extent that they contribute to irrational risk aversion. And we think these two hormones may be the molecules, respectively, of irrational exuberance and irrational pessimism.
Right, and what would you recommend then? I mean, given the fact that this has been really observed.
Well, if it's true that testosterone is building up in the bodies of traders during a bull market and morphing it into a bubble, then it's entirely possible that bubbles are a young male phenomenon. And if that's the case, then one way of establishing stability in the markets is by having more women and older men in the banks, because they have very, very different physiologies from young males.
Okay, and they could, okay, so that means that you would then, okay, have women or men teams depending upon the kind of situation.
Well, no, having them there in a permanent, I mean, that's one possibility, but just a permanently.
Kind of rotation between the staff, right? I mean,
yeah, well, I wasn't thinking of that, but I was thinking more along the lines of having, a permanent staff with more evenly balanced between young and old and male and female.
They're not definitely adjusting the type of staff in line with the crisis.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So men and women complement each other in a way that you can get a balance.
Yeah,
yes.
I think
then kind of arriving at an average, which might not be very good either, right?
Why would you expect that?
Because if they react in different ways, at the end of the day, I mean, the risk return might not be higher either. You might not suffer losses, but you might not be at the optimal either. Because one decision would be compensated by another decision.
Well, if it means that we're dampening bubbles and crashes, I can't see that there's any downside to doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.